Today we're going to talk about protein. There are some foods loaded with proteins, amazing for your health, and no one talks about them. And that's the case of the foods I'm going to talk about in this video. I guarantee those foods you've never seen them in any full day of eating video or recipe from any fitness influencer, whether that's on TikTok, Instagram or YouTube, alright? Guaranteed. So I'm going to give to you those 3 superfoods loaded with protein. I'm going to explain to you why they are so great for your health, and then I'm going to give extra tips to cook and prepare them, alright? Let's get straight into it. The first superfood is herrings. Herrings are loaded with protein, around 18 to 20 grams of protein per 100 grams, and they are a pretty small fish, just like sardines. They're way smaller than the other common fish like tuna, cod or salmon. And as they're smaller, they're also healthier because they contain way less pollutants, way less mercury and heavy metals in general, right? Because they're smaller. They're one of the first fish in the food chain. So it's definitely way better to eat herrings or sardines that are also very small rather than eating tuna, cod or salmon. And by the way, just like sardines, herrings are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which is great for your hormone production, for your cardiovascular health, and to prevent headaches. And in Europe at least, herrings are way cheaper than the other common fish. I'm talking about twice cheaper than tuna, 3 times cheaper than salmon, and sometimes even cheaper than sardines, which is pretty amazing because sardines are already known to be not expensive at all. So the next time you go to the grocery store, think about it. And preferably take smoked herrings with only 2 ingredients. They're not processed at all. There's only herrings and salt for the conservation of the product. And what I recommend you to do is to marinate them. A few hours before eating, you put herrings in a bowl, you add some olive oil, some squeezed lemon juice, and some vegetables like tomatoes, onions, garlic, bell pepper, and you let it marinate for a few hours and it's gonna taste amazing. Now don't put too much salt because, as I just told you, they already put salt for the conservation of the herrings. So it's already salty. So if you add extra salt, it's going to be too salty, it's not going to taste amazing. So don't put salt. Now the next food, the second food, is really the definition of underrated because I've seen no one talk about it while it's amazing, and it's lentils. Lentils are also loaded with protein, 25 grams per 100 grams of lentils, of dry lentils, which is higher than chicken or tuna, for example. If you're vegan, lentils are one of the best protein source, if not the best protein source that you can find, especially compared to soy protein or tofu, because if you look at the back of a tofu box, you'll see that the list of ingredients is big as hell. There's a bunch of food chemicals, of additives, of preservatives. So it's a processed product, a processed food, whereas lentils, it's basically just lentils, just only one ingredient, alright? Even if you're not vegan, lentils are great. Now, they're not as good and as complete as animal protein, right? Because it's vegetable protein, it's a plant-based protein, so they don't contain all the amino acids. But if you eat a balanced diet with a variety of animal products like dairy products, meat, fish, eggs, there's no problem, there's no big deal. So you can eat lentils for sure. Plus, lentils are high in fiber, which improves your digestion and prevents spikes in your blood sugar, and they're also very high in iron, which is one of the most vital nutrients for your body. And I found a study, many studies in fact, have shown the same thing, and I put a link to one of them in the description below, that says that we're all deficient in many nutrients, but especially in iron. So as iron is vital and you're deficient, you should be eating lentils to compensate that iron deficiency. So the most common varieties of lentils that you can find at the grocery stores are coral lentils, or also named as red lentils, and green lentils. Personally, I prefer coral lentils, but it's just because it takes less time to cook, right? And what I recommend you to do is when you cook them in the saucepan, add some spice, add some garlic, some turmeric, salt, add onions, add paprika, add a bunch of stuff, right, to make it taste even better. And you can eat that with meat, for example with sausages, Lentils and sausages, it's a classic meal in Europe, or you can eat them with rice or vegetables. Now, the last superfood high in protein is mackerel. For mackerel, it's the same speech as with herrings. Mackerel are loaded with protein, with omega-3 fatty acids. They're also pretty small, so they're one of the first animals, one of the first fish in the food chain, so they contain way less mercury and heavy metals and pollutants in general than tuna, cod and salmon. And also mackerel are pretty cheap. But not all the types of mackerel are so great for your health. It's only Atlantic mackerel and Atka mackerel from Alaska. Those are the best varieties of mackerel because they are the lowest in mercury, alright? So think about it. The next time you go for a grocery trip, think about herrings, lentils and mackerel. If this video helped you, if you enjoyed it, you can leave a like, subscribe to my channel as well if you want to learn more about nutrition, health and fitness in general, click the bell button, and I'll see you next time.